haba'im b'shem Adonai. May all of you be blessed in the name of the Lord. This rally opposing the nuclear deal with Iran is different from all of the other rallies for 3 reasons. Number one, in most of those rallies, the featured speakers were politicians. Politicians were speaking to the people. And this afternoon, something different. It's the people who are speaking to the politicians. And the vast majority of the people of America and the Senate and the House oppose this deal. There is a second way in which this rally differs. We stand today on the eve of Yom HaKippurim, the Day of Atonement. And the first words of Yom Kippur are the words of Kol Nidrei. We talk about vows. We talk about the power of words. And so we gather in the spirit of Chachamim, Hizharu b'divrechem. Leaders, be careful with your words. And while we do not believe that those who support this deal are capos, with full moral conscience and with careful words we declare that those who support this deal are on the wrong side of history. And we're here for a third reason which makes this rally different. It is being led by an interdenominational group of rabbis. What an extraordinary expression of unity. Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Reconstructionists who have come together recognizing that what unites us is much greater than what divides us. And as rabbis, we do not compromise for one moment on our political convictions in opposing this deal, but we speak with a moral conscience, and we speak with a spiritual conscience, with song and with prayer, and the words of the psalmist who declared, Ani shalom v'chi adaber hema lemilchama. I speak, but when I start to negotiate and the other side declares death to America, death to Israel, then they are for war. Ani shalom v'chi adaber hema lemilchama. Friends, I bless you for coming. We're standing just a few feet from the United States mission to the United Nations. Let's join together in the prayer that American troops come home safely. Let's join together in the prayer that Israeli troops come home safely. Let's join together in the prayer that the alliance between America and Israel becomes stronger and stronger. And before this place, which represents the American government and specifically its executive branch, we turn to President Obama and we declare and echo the words of God to Joshua himself. Chazak ve'matz, al tarotz ve'al techat, Be strong. Be courageous. Be not afraid. Don't be afraid. Let light push away darkness. Let good prevail over evil. Let love that defies the rule be victorious over hate that defies the rule. President Obama, chazak v'ematz, be strong, be courageous. Al teichat, do not be afraid. Chazak, chazak, chazak v'ematz.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Weiss, for those stirring, stirring words. Chaverai, my friends, I know why I'm here today. I'm here because I love America, and I fear that America has taken a wrong turn in the Iran deal. It makes absolutely no sense to release financial pressure on a regime that still finds enough dollars to fund international terrorism. It makes absolutely no sense, given all that we know about the unholy alliance between religion and politics, for our country to release pressure and to grant nuclear power to a theocracy like Iran. It makes absolutely no sense for us to bet that the forces of the Western sensibilities will topple the Iranian clerics who are in power right now, when the United States hands these very same clerics their greatest political victory to date. And it makes absolutely no sense to ignore our allies in the Gulf when they express deep reservations about this deal, as if we know better than they exactly what kind of neighbor Iran is. Look, America is the greatest experiment in freedom in the world today, but the very values that we cherish are the values that they fear. Whatever freedoms are enjoyed by women today, the kind of respect we pay to people of different religious backgrounds or sexual orientations is for them the very undoing of all that is holy. There is a reason why in Iran, America is known as the Great Satan. Why would we in any way empower those who regard us as the essence of evil? I love America. I know that you love America. This country has been great for so many people, for so many decades, for so many centuries. It is now our turn to be vigilant, to make sure that this country remains strong and remains safe, because I fear through this Iran deal, the security of the Western world, and America in particular, has been compromised. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your vigilance in the future.
Like me, you probably learned in elementary school a basic principle of democracy. The majority gets its way, and the minority gets its say. But as I take a look back at the last year, it seems to me that that principle has been turned on its head with an ironic twist. We see a situation where the minority has gotten its way, and the majority hasn't even gotten its say. Now, some time back, President Obama said to us that given the tectonic shift in American foreign policy, it only makes sense to welcome a robust debate. But we haven't seen that happen. He also said that he was convinced that the more people would get to know this Iran deal, the better they'd like it. But that hasn't happened. Let's take a look at what has happened. This deal, which really amounts to a treaty requiring a 2/3 majority vote in Congress to approve it, was turned upside down and described as an executive agreement requiring only a 1/3 vote to approve it. What happened to the majority gets its way? And then you may recall the Prime Minister of Great Britain called upon members of Congress to endorse what was then the impending deal and receive the White House's blessing. But then when a few months later, the Prime Minister of Israel was welcomed to Congress, the White House did everything it could in order to sabotage his visit. Whatever happened to the robust debate? When Congress, exercising its responsibility pertaining to foreign affairs, indicated that they wanted a 60-day review period, the White House resisted that demand. A bipartisan Congress prevailed. So the White House decided to circumvent Congress and go straight to the United Nations across the street, present a resolution, and lead the P5+1 in adopting that resolution at the United Nations so that any congressional discussion would be preempted. Whatever happened to checks and balances? Well, Congress did discuss this matter, and sizable bipartisan majorities in both chambers of Congress decided that the Iran deal was a bad deal. But the White House decided to use parliamentary maneuvers in order to squelch an expression of that through a vote. Whatever happened to majority rule? And perhaps most significantly, what we've seen among the American populace over recent months is as people have gotten to know this deal better, they've liked it less and less. Whatever happened to this notion, the more you know this deal, the better you're going to like it? The great Hasidic master, Rabbi Simcha Bunim, taking a look at a particular verse, explained it this way. In Parshat Shoftim, he said, we are charged with the following mitzvah. Tzedek, tzedek tirdov. Justice, justice you shall pursue. He explained that double reference to tzedek means that when you pursue justice, you must do so justly, not through maneuvers and manipulation, but you must do so justly. The end doesn't justify the means. And then we also know in the same spirit, Rabbi Yisrael Lipkin of Salant, the father of the Musar movement, turned to his Talmidim, his students, and he said to them, be very careful when you attempt to do a mitzvah, because sometimes people try to do big mitzvahs and can destroy the world in the process. We do believe in democracy. And that's why the minority should always be assured that it will get its say. But taking a look at this Iran deal, for the sake of Israel, for the sake of America, for the sake of the world, we who have gathered here today must continue this struggle and make sure that the majority gets its way.
Heather, permit me just to take a moment out. Beyond the importance of doing the principled thing and standing and raising a voice of moral conscience, for me, equally important is arms around each other across the denominations in an expression of Achdut Yisrael, the unity of Israel. Because more than a physical danger and more than a spiritual danger, the greatest challenge that we face is the unity of our people. I wanted to thank my colleagues just for allowing that sense of uplift as we gather on the eve of Yom Kippur, when Rav Nachman writes, "The heavens are especially open." Friends, we stand just a few miles from what used to be the Twin Towers. Now just imagine if those terrorists on those planes were carrying miniature nuclear weapons. Just imagine that. Those weapons have already been developed by the United States and by Russia. And I'm absolutely convinced that once the sanctions are lifted and Iran is going to use a good chunk of the more than $100 billion to support terrorism, that Iran is going to develop its own miniature nuclear weapons. Most countries who possess nuclear weapons engage what can be called nuclear responsibility. The Iranians don't understand what that means. Iran is through and through a terrorist state. It masterminded the greatest attack against the Jewish community in the exile since the Shoah, the bombing of the Jewish Community Center Amiyah in Buenos Aires in 1994. They will have no hesitation in supplying their terrorist proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas, with those miniature nuclear weapons. While the majority of America opposes this deal, I believe that most Americans feel safe. After all, Iran is 6,000 miles from the mainland of the United States. After all, America has such a strong military force. But our rabbis declare, Ezehu Chacham, who is the wise person? Haroeh et hanolad, one who sees new possibilities, new eventualities. And the real threat that this deal poses to America is nuclear suicide bombers in our subways, in our shopping centers, in our shopping malls and industrial centers. I am not one who maligns the motivations of the president or those in Congress who support this deal. It must, however, be remembered that weakness encourages the enemy to be more aggressive. Weakness inspires aggression. That's why Putin is moving into Syria on this very day. He sees weakness and he's stepping into the breach. And those who support this deal, I say with a heavy heart, are gambling with the lives of Americans. And first and foremost, standing just a few miles from the Twin Towers, are gambling with the lives of those who work and live in New York. As one who has opposed this deal, I have been called, others have been called warmongers. I take second place to no one, to wanting peace, real peace. But as the prophet Jeremiah declares, Shalom, Shalom, ve'ein shalom. Seek peace, but yearn for peace. But if the other side is a terrorist state who declares, I'm going to annihilate you, the prophet says, beware. And before this United States mission, in the presence of our wonderful police force and United States Marines, we pray for their safety. But with a heavy heart, I declare, I want shalom. I pray for shalom. But this is a deal of shalom, shalom, ve'ein shalom. Weakness inspires aggression. Shalom, shalom, ve'ein shalom.
My name is Cindy Gross, and I am the coordinator of Stop Iran Now College Campus Activism. This is a group of high school and college students from all religious, political, and social backgrounds who have volunteered their time to send letters to elected officials, attend rallies like this, and join others on their campuses to voice concerns and opposition to this deal. So far, we have worked with Jew and non-Jew, Democrat, Republican, and Independent, because this issue unites a majority of young voters, and their voices can and will be heard. We have worked with Hillels, Chabads, and groups like Stand With Us, who is represented here today. For these students, their work has just begun, because whether or not students supported or opposed this deal, many fear, as a result of this deal, anti-Semitism will increase nationwide, and students will be targets in school communities. And if you've been following the press this week, it's happening already. If you know any student, any parent, any faculty member, please have them contact Stop Iran Now College Campus at gmail.com and let them know that they are not alone. Joining us today to publicly thank the elected officials who voted against the deal are two of the best and brightest young leaders in the tri-state area, a leader from the high schools and a leader from the colleges. Thank you.
Shalom. I would like to thank everyone for coming today. My name is Yoni Nierenberg, and I'm a student at Rambam Sifta Lawrence High School. I'm a volunteer and a high school fellow for Stand With Us as well. Stand With Us is an international Israel education organization that educates students like myself and the general public about Israel and empowers them to educate others. Stand With Us is at the forefront of supporting students who want to support for Israel and stand up for Israel, and I am proud to be a Stand With Us high school fellow. Today I am here representing high school students in the audience from the tri-state area to publicly thank some of the officials that voted against the Iran nuclear deal. I would like to start off by thanking the New York senator who started his political career from my hometown, Brooklyn, New York. Senator Charles Schumer. Thank you, Senator Schumer. The following members of Congress from the tri-state area also stood up, voiced their concerns, and voted against this deal. Thank you, legislators Elliot Engel, Steve Israel, Nita Lowe, Caroline Maloney, Grace Meng, Daniel Norcross, Kathleen Rice, Albio Sirez, Lee Zeldin, Peter King, Chris Gibson, and Elsie Stefanik. Thank you all, legislators. We support you. God bless America.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Wilzig, and I'm a student at Queens College majoring in graphic design. I and many of my friends who commit to schools like Nassau Community, Adelphi, Malloy, and Hofstra, and live in Long Island have written letters to our elected officials, and either thanking them for opposing the deal or asking them to reconsider their decisions with the help of the Stop Iran Now college campus activism volunteers. Today, I am here representing the college students in the audience from the tri-state area and publicly thanking some of the elected officials that have voted against the Iran deal. I'm going to start by thanking the senator who originally co-sponsored a bill and represented my brother for 4 years when he attended Rutgers University, Senator Bob Menendez. The following elected members of Congress also stood up for the security of America and Israel, and we thank them. Richard Hanna, Tom Reed, John Katko, Chris Collins, Dana Donovan, Frank Biondo, Tom MacArthur, Chris Smith, Scott Garrett, Leonard Lance, Rodney Frellinghuysen. We thank them all. Thank you.
I'm a neighbor of Rabbi Klein's, so I'll gladly represent him as well. There's an old saying, what you don't know can't hurt you. We use this saying with children to convince them not to worry so much. Chaverot v'chaverim, my friends, we are not children, and we know that in the case of this misguided joint comprehensive plan of action, there are agreements made in codicils, annexes, and appendices that have not been made public, that are dangerous and harmful, and it's time to start worrying because what we don't know can and will hurt us. There's an agreement hidden in there somewhere, believe it or not, that enables the Iranians themselves to determine how to respond to efforts by the International Atomic Energy Agency to verify that they're not carrying out research and development on nuclear weapons at sites such as the Parchin military base. That's one of their research sites that we know by name. But how many other facilities will Tehran be cloaking in secrecy, away from the inquiring eyes of the IAEA? How will the IAEA be able to gauge the so-called possible military dimensions of Iran's nuclear program if they don't even have access to the sites where the work is carried out? And yet, this is the agreement between the P5+1 and the regime in Tehran. Not only that, but the agreement says that there can be no American inspectors participating in the verification teams. Why is that? Because Iran says the United States and Iran do not have diplomatic relations. Therefore, Americans cannot come here to verify that we're not working on nuclear weapons that will ultimately be used to harm Americans. Secretary Kerry says he opposes making these agreements public because, quote, we respect the process of the IAE and we don't have their authorization to reveal what is confidential between them and another country. Respect the process of the IAE, respect Iran. What about respect for life? The side deals that the IAEA has negotiated with Iran have potentially devastating consequences for America and our allies. Secretary Kerry has also indicated that one of the side agreements enables the other P5+1 nations, Russia, China, and the European nations, to not be subject to reimposition of sanctions under the so-called snapback provisions, even if Iran is caught violating the prohibitions. If America has to go it alone in reimposing sanctions, that makes us a toothless tiger. But what I find most infuriating about these side deals is the commitment by the signatories to this deal, believe it or not, to come to Iran's aid if their nuclear facilities are threatened with sabotage or destruction. Annex 3, Civil and Nuclear Cooperation, Section D10, states clearly that the P5+1 and possibly other states, quote, are prepared to cooperate with Iran on the implementation of nuclear security guidelines and best practices in the form of training courses and workshops to, and I emphasize this, to strengthen Iran's ability to prevent, protect, and respond to nuclear security threats, to nuclear facilities and systems, including sabotage. That effectively makes it impossible for those who would want to act to prevent Iran from continuing their nuclear work to go in there by subterfuge or any other means to destroy what they are intending to create in order to destroy us. I hesitate in this forum to invoke another well-known idiom, do not buy a pig in a poke. But that is exactly what is being sold to Congress and to the American people. Mr. President, Secretary Kerry, open that bag all the way. Let's see everything inside, and then let Congress decide if they want to make the purchase, and only then. Thank you.
Friends, we all know why we're here. We're here because we love America, because we love Israel, and because we believe the deal that the Obama administration made with Iran, against the will of the American people and clear majorities in both houses of Congress, is a classic deal with the devil. We're here because we believe the deal poses grave dangers to America and an existential threat to Israel. We're here because Iran's regime is totalitarian, theocratic, oppressive, xenophobic, anti-American, anti-Semitic, homophobic, misogynistic, and rapacious. The leading instigator of regional instability and the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, whose leaders deny the Holocaust while threatening to perpetrate another. We're here because this deal gives this evil regime a Teudat Kashrut to eventually buy or build ICBMs, enrich without limitation, and become a nuclear weapons threshold state, with the breakout time between enrichment and the creation of nuclear weapons reduced to 0. We're here because this deal increases exponentially the resources available to Iran to fund terrorism. We're here to express resentment at being portrayed as knee-jerk partisan alarmists, ignorant, dishonest fantasists, fearmongers, and warmongers. Attacks that sometimes invoked the familiar anti-Semitic myths of Jewish power, money, and disloyalty. Sadly, rhetorical excesses on both sides of the debate have undermined bipartisan support that Israel has traditionally received, damaged the fragile unity of the American Jewish community, deepened the polarization and hyperpartisanship that are so toxic to our democracy, and weakened the strategic alliance between the U.S. and Israel, on which the security of both nations and other friends in the region and beyond depends. If there is any good news here, it is that this is not the end. It is only end of the beginning. This was principally a battle over means, not ends. Like us, most of the deal's backers in Congress say they support Israel's security, recognize the evil nature of the Iranian regime, seek to deter its nuclear aspirations, abhor its support for terrorism, and oppose its expansionism. And many of them, with the egregious exception of this deal, have voted to support Israel time and again. Like us, the president describes himself as pro-Israel and declares that he loves Israel. We respond with the words of Pirkei Avot, Lo hamidrash ikar ela hama'aseh. Actions are primary, not words. We call upon the president to repair our frayed diplomatic relations with Israel, to welcome Prime Minister Netanyahu to the White House with the respect due a valued strategic partner, to restore the long-standing practice of no surprises and of discussing differences in private rather than in public, to support Israel steadfastly and unambiguously across the street here at the United Nations, and to provide Israel with MOPs, our largest bunker buster bombs, and B-52s, so it will always have the means to defend itself by itself. We call upon Congress to pass and the President to sign bipartisan legislation that puts real teeth in the deal, that bolsters Israeli defense and deterrence, maintains Israel's qualitative military edge, counters Iranian aggression, and sanctions banks and other entities involved in terror financing. We call upon the President and Congress to join in making it absolutely clear that we will never, ever allow Iran to acquire nuclear weapons, that we will regard an effort to accumulate highly enriched uranium as an attempt to do so, and will respond with any and all means necessary, including military force. Here we gather during the holiest season of our Jewish year, mindful of the Torah's solemn admonition. You stand this day, all of you, before the Lord your God. I call on heaven and earth to witness against you this day. I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life, that you and your descendants may live. Come what may, when our descendants judge our deeds, they will know that we chose life and blessing, that in the face of evil and danger, we did not remain silent. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God give our people strength. May God bless our people with peace.
Chevra, we've opened up the gates of heaven. Crash those gates open. We must crash open the gates of the hearts of the world. Please join us in doing so with the battle cry of light, the battle cry of love. Am Yisrael Chai.
Am Yisrael,
As we come to the conclusion of a communal call to conscience, I do want to thank those who have made this event what it is. I do want to thank the rabbis that have come together from every segment of the Jewish community to show their solidarity on behalf of their communities regarding the cause of which we spoke today. I especially do want to acknowledge Rabbi Avi Weiss, who, as he has over the past 40 to 50 years, lit the fire under so many social action initiatives, and we know that they always lead to success. Much hatzlacha. There are others that made a real difference today. Among those, we thank those who have generously sponsored a call to conscience, including the Israel Project. This kind of an event is something that needs to be funded, and we rely on the generous individuals who are anonymous as well as the Israel Project for helping out. There are also those that gave countless hours as volunteers. I won't be able to read a comprehensive list, but among those that I mention are Hillary Barr, who so beautifully emceed the event today. But the truth is, as much as you saw her here out front, she does the logistics behind and has always been brilliant in that regard. I also do thank Cindy Gross, who served as the drum major of this event, calling it to the attention of so many and introducing activists that didn't know each other before. Each and every event will be much stronger for those initiatives. We also thank the legendary Glenn Richter, hero of the Soviet Jewry movement, but involved in every Jewish cause since, as well as Shuli Boxer-Reeser, Mimi Rothberg, Lynn Bursky-Tamam, who devoted so much time and energy, Robin Ticker, and Helen Friedman, who is also here today. We salute all of you. It was also a pleasure once again to share the company and the dancing partnership of Curtis Sliwa. His presence at this event is only one over many, many years. He's always been supportive of Jewish causes, and we thank him for all the good work he does for all New Yorkers and people everywhere. But last and not least, I thank all of you who came here today because you understood something. As Rabbi Rick Block paraphrased Winston Churchill, this is not the end of the end. It was just the end of the beginning. You're the ones who understood that if Iran has dominated the news over the past 6 months or 9 months, it's going to dominate the news even more over the next 10, 15, 20 years. You will be able to remember that you were here first at this historic opportunity to respond first to the deal that's just been made. But this I can assure you, you may be the first, you won't be the last. So stay tuned, the majority will get its way. And now I call upon all my rabbinic colleagues who have shofarot, as well as those who come unaccompanied by shofarot, to join me on this platform as once again we sound the call of the shofar. Immediately after the sounding of the shofar, I invite my rabbinic colleagues to join us as we present a letter to President Obama on our behalf. Read the letter? Okay. Just so you're familiar with the contents of the letter we're about to present the president, here's what it says. Dear President Obama, we are a group of rabbis from across the Jewish denominations, conservative, Orthodox, Reconstructionist, Reform, and Traditional, who have just led a rally opposing the Iran nuclear deal. Our call to conscience is not only a strong political statement, but is spiritual at its core. With prayer and resolve, we write to you about our deep disappointment in your approach to this deal. It is our strong feeling that you have a moral responsibility to reveal all of the secret side agreements to the American public. The Bible declares, righteousness, righteousness you shall pursue. The rabbis explain the double language to mean righteousness you shall righteously pursue. Your keeping side agreements secret is a violation of this principle. Moreover, we take great exception to you using your power to block debate and a vote on the matter in the Senate. This deal is one of the most important international agreements signed in recent memory. It certainly deserves to be discussed and become a matter of record in the people's house. It is because we pray for peace that we raise a voice of conscience regarding the Iran deal and declare, Mr. President, America needs, wants, and deserves better. Signed by all of the rabbis and some others who appear on the platform today. Ready? Oh, you want to call them? Yes.
Shvarim Tikiya Gedola.
To each and every one of you, Gemar Chatima Tova.
We would be pleased to send a complimentary DVD of this program to anyone who wishes to support JBS, the Jewish Broadcasting Service, with a tax-deductible gift of $36, double chai or more, to the nonprofit organization Jewish Education in Media. Simply visit the JBS homepage and click on the Donate button to make a donation by PayPal or your credit card. And please indicate the program for which you would like a DVD. Or you can send your tax-deductible check made out to Jem, Post Office Box 180, Riverdale Station, Bronx, New York 10471. And again, please remember to indicate which program you would like to receive with our compliments. And we thank you for your kind support.